fabricate soul and spirit. That is today's topic, and that is something very, very interesting, okay? So, to fabricate is to make, to build, or to construct from something that it's already made, okay? So we're going to use something that it's already there, okay? But we're going to make something out of it, okay? So that means that we have a soul. I am not saying that we don't have a soul, but our soul is not complete because our soul is fragmented, okay? You'll understand it in a few minutes, okay? So our soul, we must take all of those fragments, put them all together to fabricate the real me. First of all, let's understand what is the soul, okay? The soul is composed by many things, okay? For example, virtues made of honesty, fidelity, love, okay? All of those beautiful virtues that a human being has is part of the soul, okay? Also, powers, okay? Because the soul has the power to communicate, okay? For example, I know this has happened to everybody. When we see at someone at the eyes, we look at the person in the eyes, maybe we have never seen the person before, but we start talking to them and we just look at them in their eyes and we're like, oh my God, you know, we're like, wow, I know this person from I don't know where, but you know exactly how that person feels, how the person thinks. You know that you can trust that person, and it is all just by looking at the eyes, okay? Because it's able to communicate, and you know that you have been with that soul before, okay? That's how you see. There you go. And the soul, have you ever experienced astral travel, for example? You know, when the body falls asleep and the soul comes out and you're able to see your physical body lying there and you're like, wow, oh my God, you know, you look like you were dead, but you're like, well, you know, that's my body. And you experience that the soul came out. Well, that's the form of the soul, but that soul is conformed by the virtues that we spoke about, okay? By the ability of reading somebody's eyes and communicating, by the ability of traveling in other dimensions, for example, okay? Remember Nikola Tesla, for example, okay? That they would say he could sit in a park and all of this information from other dimensions would come to him and he would be able to recall them, and he didn't need to write them because all of that is part of his soul. So all of those things are part of the soul. Intuition, for example, that's another faculty from the soul too, okay? Because it's something that tells you like, yeah, go for it, you know, that's for you, don't be scared, just do it. And you're like, oh my God, but like in your mind you have all of these things that are telling you like no, that's, you know, that's not right, you shouldn't do that. But inside you, something tells you, you know, just do it, just go ahead, go for it, you know, it's the time, it's your big chance, and go for it, do it. And okay, you listen to yourself and you go and do it and touch that, there you go, okay? Or different, something tells you don't do it, okay? But you're there like, you know, this is what I really want, but inside you something tells you, you know, don't do it. And anyways, you go and do it, and then you're like, damn it, you know, you feel the guilt, and you know, you tell yourself like, I should have listened to myself, something told me I shouldn't do it. Well, that is part of the soul, okay? So our soul is made of many, many different things. So as how I was telling you at the beginning, the soul is fragmented, okay? What do I mean by fragmented? It means that all of those powers that we just spoke about, they are fragmented and they are trapped in our different ways of being. So for example, selfishness is not part of the soul. The soul is never selfish, but we have selfish inside us. Laziness is not part of the soul, but we are lazy. Anger is not part of the soul, but we live with anger, okay? So all of these things are not part of the soul, but they have trapped virtues of our soul inside it. For example, with anger, why do I feel anger towards someone that I love? And I discover because there isn't real love. And you may be looking at me like, there isn't real love. I'm expecting something back, okay? I'm expecting at least company from the person. I am expecting that person to at least call me. I am expecting for that person to be there when I'm sick. I'm expecting that person to be there when I get old. Okay, so I have expectations towards something that I have been giving love to, okay? Which that's what doesn't let me be free, okay? It doesn't allow me to be free from that person, and it doesn't let that person be free from me. So that is not part of the soul. So when I discover those kind of things, I ask my conscious to destroy those way of being, okay? To destroy that selfishness that I have found. Then when you have time, you're going to start going deeper in those thoughts, and you're going to start writing. For example, why am I expecting so much from that other person? Why am I expecting things back from the other person? If I decided to be a mother, to give birth, I am doing that soul a favor, okay? I decided to do the soul a favor and to bring him to life, okay? So if it was something that you decided to do, why am I expecting something back? So you just start writing all of those little details, and that's going to let you fully know yourself. Once you start fully knowing yourself and comprehending yourself, you are seeing your soul. You're becoming your own soul, because you start discovering things that are real from you, okay? And then you start discovering all of those virtues, and you say, you know, things that you have to change, and you start saying, yeah, you know, I have to start letting go. I have to let him grow up, and you start learning to love, okay? So there I am, fabricating my own soul, okay? I am taking out those fragments that I discover and putting them back where they should be, okay? But that only is done with full comprehension, okay? So they are 3 factors that we're going to work on to fabricate the soul. So the first one is just that one that we're talking about, psychology. The second one is very, very important as the first one too. That is through the Supra-sex Practice, okay? It is really, really important if we want to fabricate the soul to do the Supra-sex Practice, okay? You can watch it on my video that I have. It's like only a 5-minute video, and it tells you completely how the practice is done, okay? Why is it so important? Because that practice is going to allow me to regenerate my physical body, my vital body, and it's going to allow me to create the other bodies, okay? So when I have created the other bodies that are the video that I just posted before this one, that is the creation of the 7 bodies, we're going to need those 7 bodies to come together and be fully done in order to have the soul completed, okay? So that video is going to let you understand this one better. But in order to make that creation of the 7 bodies, we need to have our 5 hubs to be working, each one with its energy, okay? If they are not working with their own energy, then our machine, our human machine, it's not working well, and when it's time to do the Supra-sex Practice, we won't have the energy that each of those centers need to do the practice and do that creation, okay? It's like having a machine, and you need to put oil and salt and water, but if you don't have salt, how are you going to make the rice, for example, okay? It's not going to taste like anything. Let's say you have the water, the salt, and the oil, but you don't have rice. Then you won't have that. Or you don't have the oil, or you don't even have the pot, okay? So just for you to understand what I'm trying to say. So, you know, all of those components are necessary. So each of our hubs are necessary to be working with their own energy when it's time to do that practice. And the third factor that we need is sacrifice for human being, okay? What does that mean? That means to develop love, okay? Because our soul is made of love, and we need to develop love. How do we develop love? through practice. Okay, what do I mean through practice? If you do an astral unfoldment and you're able to see, to discover that it's real, that the soul comes out of the body and that there are other dimensions, and in that dimension you're able to talk to the soul of the plants, to the soul of the animals, okay, to somebody else, to see the future. When you come back to this dimension, you're another person, okay? You see life different. You develop tolerance, patience, you develop love, you understand others better. It is so much easier to forgive, for example, because you experience something different. You experience something that everybody thinks of, like what happens after you die. But if you already experienced it because your soul came out of the body, so you understand that the physical body is just a vehicle, but the soul continues, okay? So it's much easier for you to understand life, to see life different, and to let go of the material things, okay? So it's necessary to do practices to develop love, okay? So with those three factors is that we're going to fabricate the soul. The steps to fabricate the soul. Well, first of all is to receive this knowledge, okay? Because yeah, obviously you're going to need to understand what you're going to do, okay? So it's necessary for you to understand this knowledge, to understand yourself, to understand how your body works, to understand how each of the hubs work, okay, to understand and value your sexual energy, okay? So it's really important for you to first of all just comprehend all of this, okay? And more than comprehending is to experiment, okay? To know from yourself that this is real. It's not because you saw the video, it's because you experimented and you can say, yes, it's true, okay? So first of all, we need to receive this knowledge and comprehend it, that it's real. After I already comprehended, then I must work on the three factors that it was: the psychological death, the supra-sex practice, and sacrifice for human beings. The third step is to balance the center, okay? To have our 5 hubs balanced. That means that every day during all our activities, as many times as you can, in any activity that you're doing, you must be asking yourself, is this that I'm doing is from my conscience? Is this useful? Is this right? Is this real? Okay, and that's going to allow you to be more conscious during the day. For example, you're there on Facebook, you're just reading, gossiping. That's what we do there. We're there gossiping, like, oh look, this girl got married, and oh, I think they broke up according to that message. And we're there just gossiping. Oh, he looks good. Oh, she got surgery. We're just gossiping, okay? So if I ask myself, is this that I'm doing useful? No, it isn't. Is this from my conscience? No, it isn't. Is this right? No, it isn't. Is this real? No, it isn't. Okay, so should I keep doing this? No, I shouldn't, right? So, okay. Then you start doing something useful, okay? That's how you start the habit of fabricating your soul. Now that you have balanced centers, then you need a stable partner, okay, to do the supra-sex practice, okay, because it's a practice that it must be done, but only with one person, okay? So you cannot be changing couples every 2 to 3 weeks, every 6 months. You need a stable partner in order to create these bodies. The 5th step is that you need to stop fornication. That means that you must learn to have sex without orgasm or ejaculating. That's how the Kundalini rises. More than learning how to do the practice is to stop ejaculating and getting to the orgasm, okay? Because at the beginning, and it happens to everybody, when you start doing this practice, you don't have an orgasm at the beginning, but let's say like 2 weeks later, maybe you have one, then maybe every 2 months you have an orgasm because you're starting to get like to the rhythm of it. but it is necessary for you to definitely cut it, okay? And that's it, okay? In order to fabricate the soul, there must be no more orgasms, no more ejaculations, okay? You need to keep your waters, because that's the mystery of the alchemist, okay? Just to keep those waters and transform them. Once you have learned how to do that, a second part of your inner path of your spiritual world opens, okay? And they give you a sword, okay? Yeah, a sword. You get a sword. Well, in that case, it's a small sword, like from here where I'm having my hand to here. You get a sword like this, okay? And that sword is going to be growing. The more you start creating the bodies, it will start growing, okay? So when you see a person in your dreams and you want to call them and you want to see if this is a real master or if this person is working, you can tell them, you know, show me your sword. And the bigger the sword is because the more power they have in their spirit. And the seventh step is to start creating the 5 bodies, the 5 big initiations of mystery, okay? So it's the regeneration of the physical body, regeneration of the vital body, creation of the astral body, the mental body, and the body of will, okay? There, when I have those 5 bodies completed, they're going to come together with the other 2 that are already made. And you'll see that on the video before, okay? So there you have your 7 bodies. The 8th path is when I am in the beginning of the creation of this 5th body, is that I have to select my path, okay? Am I going to go to the straight path, or am I going to go to the path of the nirvana, okay? So there, the person must choose the straight path, because that's the one that's going to take you straight to the creation of your soul, okay? If you go to the nirvana, you're going to be in that world, which is great. It is great. You're going to be there for many, many years, but then you're gonna have to come back, okay? And if you have to come back, those bodies that you have created, then they have to disintegrate, and that takes time, and then you're going to come back to this world and you're gonna have to create them again, okay? And it's going to also become a recurrence, because every time that you get to this 5th body, that is the time to decide between the 2 paths. Unfortunately, it creates a recurrence, and you're going to start saying the nirvana again, the nirvana again, the nirvana again. So we need to awaken very much our conscious and be very conscious of every day. You know, what am I doing here? What am I here for? This is what I'm going to, and let your soul be the one to decide. That's why from now you have to learn from now to do what your soul says, okay? If from now you start doing what your soul says, even it hurts, okay? Sometimes you have to make decisions that, oh my God, you know, they break your heart, and you're like, I don't want to do this. But if it is your soul's decision, from as much as it hurts, just do it, okay? You must learn how to do everything that your soul says, okay? If your soul says go on and do it, you just go on and do it, okay? Don't start thinking, but what if, what I'm going to do, what's going to happen? Just go, okay? If your soul says, you know, turn left and just walk straight and don't look back, walk straight and don't look back, okay? I mean, don't think about it, just go, okay? You must learn to listen to your soul and do as your soul says. If this is really what you want, and this is what you're here for, and you're 100% sure that this is the path that it is, because this is the path that your soul has chosen, then just go for it, okay? Don't think about it, go for it, okay? 9th step. The star that's going down is your divine soul, and the triangle that is going up is the human soul, that they come together in that 9th step, okay? Is the union of the soul. And when this happens, the soul has been created. Okay, and there you go. This is the fabrication of the soul. That's the meaning of the ring. Okay, it's the fabrication of your own soul. So when you have created the 5 bodies and you have chosen the direct path, you have created your soul. What's next? You have to create the spirit. So what comes after this is to create the spirit, and you're going to create the spirit the same way that you created the soul. But first we needed a component. Now you have those fragments together. Okay, now you have a soul. Now with this component of the soul, you're going to fabricate the spirit. Okay, then the same thing is going to happen. The spirit and the soul are going to come together, and you're going to have a complete spirit. Okay, the spirit and the soul comes together, and you will never lose your soul. Okay, that's the way that the soul and the spirit are created. Okay, now I'm going to answer some questions that people usually have about this. Okay, so for example, people ask specifically, so how is a body created? Okay, in order to create a body, let's keep it clear. In order to create a body, we need a stable partner. They must be a man and a woman. Okay, why? Because they are different poles, and this is alchemy. Okay, so one has the positive pole, the other one has the negative pole, and they must come together in order for those energies to come together and magnetize and become one. Okay, in order for those energies to rise, and that's what it is called, to awaken the Kundalini, it's a must for each, well, it is a must for you to have your 5 hubs working with their own energy. Okay, if the hubs are working with their own energy, when it's the time for the Supra-sex practice, you will be able to create. How long does it take to create a body? It takes, if a person seriously works on this, it takes 2.5 years. How do we know that we already started the job? You know that you started the job because definitely there are no more orgasms, there is no more ejaculation. You have fully comprehended what chastity is, and you're doing the practice based on chastity. When you see in your internal world that you have been given the sword, or that your waters are going up, then you have awakened your Kundalini and you started your job. Is it possible to create the bodies without a partner? No, it is impossible. This is like if you want to have a child, you want to have a baby, you need to have a partner. If not, you're not going to get pregnant, okay? If not, you're not going to become a father. So it's the same thing. You must have a stable partner to work on. Is it possible to create the bodies if you're castrated? No, it isn't, okay? You must have your sexual organs working well in order for this practice to be done. How much time does it take to create the soul and the spirit? So the creation of the soul, it's what in the Gnostic path is called the first mountain. That first mountain can be done in about 12 to 13 years if the person is working all of that time with a stable partner, the same person, if there is no pregnancy, and if you're working hard on your psychological death and on sacrifice for a human being, okay? In 12.5 years, if you're doing that like that, only that, then you're going to be able to do it in that time. The creation of the spirit, that is called the second mountain, it's done in about 20 years. Okay. Another question is, why is it that not many people find this path, that 1 out of 1,000 can find this path? It's because of karma, okay? Because maybe people have had this knowledge in another time and they didn't appreciate it, okay? Also because it really depends on you, okay? If you're working on this, and this is like when a person decides to have a company and they sacrifice everything for their company, they're going to have success, okay? They're going to find a way and they're going to make it grow. Or this is the same, okay? If this is your path and you're going to give up everything just for this and live just for this, then everything is going to open and everything is going to be there. Why is it that out of 1,000 people who find this, only one stays? Because it's hard, because it is definitely hard to keep this, okay? Why is it hard? Because it is hard to be working on yourself. That why out of 1,000 people who follow this path and make the effort, why only one achieves the outer realization? Because at the moment that it comes for the decision of the straight path or the nirvana, most people take the nirvana because the nirvana is easier, okay? I mean, it's a heaven, okay? And the straight path, it's a bigger effort than the one that the person had already made. Guys, if you have been until the last moment watching this video, thank you so much for being here, for listening, and with all my heart, I wish you the best, a lot of strength. This is the best thing that you guys can ever find. This is the best thing that we can do for our soul, okay? Thank you for watching.